Let's get right into it. Number 9. Speaking slower than everyone else in the room. Former FBI hostage negotiator Chris Voss built his entire negotiation method around this. He calls it the late-night FM DJ voice. Slow, low, deliberate. Fast talkers sound anxious. Slow talkers sound like they've already won the argument before it started. Watch any courtroom drama. The lawyer who wins never rushes his words. He lets each sentence land, then waits. Silence after a sentence isn't dead air. It's a signal that you don't need to fill space to feel secure. Most people talk fast because silence makes them uncomfortable. They're terrified someone will jump in and steal the moment. So they rush, stumble, and trip over their own points. Slow speech does the opposite. It says, take your time, I'm not going anywhere, and neither is my point. Voss used this exact tone to talk down kidnappers holding hostages at gunpoint. If it works on someone holding a rifle, it will work on your coworker who keeps interrupting you in meetings. There's a reason luxury brands use slow, deep voiceovers in commercials and budget brands use fast, high-pitched ones. Speed reads as desperation. Pace reads as control. Next time you're in a tense conversation, cut your talking speed by half. Watch what happens to the room. People start leaning in instead of talking over you. They start listening for the next word instead of waiting for their turn to speak. It costs nothing, it requires no charisma, and it flips the entire power dynamic of a conversation. Slowing down isn't a trick. It's a signal that you're not scrambling for approval. Number 8. Refusing to explain your decisions. Every time you justify a choice nobody questioned, you hand away a piece of your authority. Watch how CEOs announce layoffs versus how new managers do it. New managers over-explain. They list 5 reasons, they apologize twice, they practically beg for understanding. Experienced executives state the decision and move on. Apple famously never explains why a product feature was cut. Steve Jobs would announce a decision and treat further questions as irrelevant, not because he was rude, but because explaining implied the decision was up for debate. It wasn't. Over-explaining signals insecurity even when the decision itself is solid. Think about the last time a friend canceled plans. If they sent 3 paragraphs justifying it, you probably felt suspicious. If they just said can't make it, let's reschedule, you didn't think twice. The shorter version sounded more confident, even though it gave you less information. That's the trick. Less information often reads as more authority. Humans associate lengthy justification with guilt, even when there's nothing to feel guilty about. Court transcripts show this pattern constantly. Witnesses who ramble get cross-examined harder because rambling looks like covering tracks. Witnesses who answer in short, direct sentences get believed faster. You don't owe every person a paragraph of reasoning for your choices. A short, clear answer, delivered without apology, forces the other person to either accept it or reveal that they were never actually asking a question. They were trying to control you. Watch that reveal happen the next time you simply say no and stop talking. Number 7. Keeping your phone completely out of sight during conversations. In 2014, University of Essex researchers proved that the mere presence of a phone on a table, even turned off, lowered the quality of connection between 2 strangers talking. But you don't need a citation to know this. You felt it. Someone glances at their phone mid-sentence, and the conversation instantly cheapens. Now flip it. Sit across from someone with 0 devices visible, full eye contact, no vibrating distractions, and the room tightens instantly. That person becomes the most important thing in your world for those 10 minutes, and they feel it. Barack Obama was famous for this during one-on-one meetings. Aides reported he'd leave his phone with staff entirely before sitting down with someone. It made people feel like the most important person in Washington for those 15 minutes, even mid-level staffers. That single habit built enormous personal loyalty. Most people today check their phone 40 to 80 times a day without noticing. Every check, even a glance, tells the person across from you that something outside this room matters more than they do. Removing the phone entirely removes the temptation and the tell. You're not managing your willpower mid-conversation. You've already eliminated the threat. This is why old-school poker rooms ban phones at the table. Distraction reads as weakness, and full attention reads as dominance. Try it once, in a real conversation, phone in another room, not face down on the table, actually gone. You'll watch the other person's posture change within 2 minutes. They'll sit up straighter. They'll talk longer. They'll trust you faster. Undivided attention has become so rare it now functions as a status symbol. Number 6. Walking at your own pace instead of matching the crowd's rush. Watch footage of Barack Obama walking through any hallway, any airport, any hotel lobby. He never speeds up for anyone. Staff and Secret Service adjust their pace to him, not the other way around. That's not laziness. That's a subtle but constant broadcast of status. In nature, subordinate animals move quickly and erratically. Dominant animals move slowly and deliberately because nothing is chasing them. Humans read body language the exact same way, even in a hallway at the office. Someone who jogs to catch an elevator looks like they need something. Someone who lets the elevator close and simply waits for the next one looks like time bends around them, not the reverse. Wall Street traders in the 1980s literally trained junior staff to slow their walking pace on the trading floor because rushed movement broadcast panic to competitors watching for weakness. This is measurable, not mystical. Speed of movement correlates directly with perceived urgency, and urgency reads as low status because high-status people rarely need anything urgently. Other people bring things to them. This doesn't mean move like a sloth through a burning building. It means stop sprinting for buses, stop power walking to meetings you're barely late for, Stop treating every hallway like a finish line. Number 5. Saying no without offering a reason. Watch toddlers. They say no constantly, with zero explanation, and somehow it works every time. Somewhere between age 5 and adulthood, most people lose that ability and replace it with a paragraph of excuses nobody asked for. A plain no, that doesn't work for me, ends a conversation. No, I can't, because I have this thing, and also this other thing, and I'm really sorry invites negotiation, because you just handed the other person 3 points to argue against. Negotiation trainers at Harvard's program on negotiation teach this directly. The more reasons you give, the more openings you create for someone to pick your excuse apart. Salespeople are trained specifically to listen for the word because and attack whatever follows it. Remove the because, and there's nothing left to attack. This isn't about being cold. It's about recognizing that most people asking for justification aren't owed one. They're testing whether you'll cave under pressure. Every time you over-explain a boundary, you teach the other person that pushing back gets results. Every time you hold a boundary with a short, unapologetic no, you teach them the opposite, and they stop pushing entirely because pushing stopped working. This is why hostage negotiators, customer service escalation teams, and toddlers all share one unlikely trait: brevity. The shortest sentence in the exchange usually belongs to whoever's actually in control of it. Number 4. Holding steady eye contact without over-blinking, especially in silence. Blink rate spikes under stress. It's a documented physiological response tied to cortisol release, which is exactly why interrogators are trained to watch for it. The average person blinks around 15 to 20 times a minute. Under pressure, that number can double or triple without the person even realizing it. Holding a calm, steady gaze during an uncomfortable silence, without darting your eyes away, without excessive blinking, signals to the other person's nervous system that you're not under threat. And if you're not under threat, maybe they shouldn't feel like a threat to you either. This is why poker players wear sunglasses, not for style, to hide involuntary eye movement that gives away a weak hand. In everyday life, you don't need sunglasses. You need practice sitting in silence without looking away first. Most people break eye contact within 2 to 3 seconds during any pause, because silence feels like losing. Holding it for 5, 6, 7 seconds feels excruciating the first few times you try it. It gets easier, and the payoff is immediate. People start treating you like you're harder to rattle, because you are demonstrably harder to rattle. This single habit is used deliberately in hostage negotiation training, high-stakes sales closing, and courtroom cross-examination, 3 fields where blinking first, literally, means losing. Number 3. Refusing to laugh at your own jokes. Watch stand-up comedians perform. The good ones deliver a punchline and let it sit stone-faced while the crowd loses it. The bad ones start giggling before they even finish the setup, and audiences instinctively trust the joke less. Laughing at your own material signals you're seeking approval for it. You're not confident it lands on its own. This translates directly into daily conversation. Someone who cracks a joke and immediately grins, waiting for your reaction, comes across as needy, even if the joke was genuinely funny. Someone who delivers the same line completely deadpan forces the room to decide for itself whether it's funny, and that uncertainty is exactly what makes people lean in and actually laugh harder. Ricky Gervais built an entire career on this exact delivery. Flat tone, zero self-approval, letting the audience do all the emotional work. It reads as supreme confidence because it is. When you laugh at your own joke, you're doing the audience's job for them, and audiences resent having their job done for them. It feels patronizing. Withholding that laugh keeps you in control of the room's reaction instead of announcing what the reaction should be. This applies outside comedy too. Anytime you say something clever or pointed, resist the urge to smirk or self-congratulate immediately after. Let it land. Let people come to their own conclusion about how sharp that was. Confidence doesn't chase applause. It assumes the applause is coming. Number 2. Being the one who leaves the room, the party, or the conversation first. Everyone remembers who left. Almost nobody remembers who stayed until the end. Casino hosts in Las Vegas are trained specifically to notice this. The highest value guests are rarely the last ones at the table. They leave while they're still winning, still wanted, still the center of attention. Staying too long, whether at a party, a meeting, or a relationship, quietly signals that you have nowhere better to be. Leaving while things are still good signals the opposite, that your time is valuable enough that even a great moment doesn't get all of it. This is measurable in social dynamics research on group gatherings. The person who exits at the peak of energy, not the lull, is remembered far more fondly and far more often than the person who lingered until the lights came on. There's a reason great speeches end before the audience gets restless, and terrible ones drag until people check their phones. Ending early, on your terms, protects the impression you made instead of eroding it. This is uncomfortable for most people because leaving first feels like missing out. In practice, it's the opposite. You're the one who decided the moment was complete, instead of waiting for someone else to decide it for you. Politicians, celebrities, and hosts all use this deliberately. They arrive fashionably, engage fully, and exit while demand for them is still climbing, never while it's declining. Number 1. Staying completely silent instead of defending yourself against accusations. Queen Elizabeth I's personal motto, engraved into her own portraits, was Video et taceo, Latin for I see, and say nothing. She ruled England for 45 years surrounded by plots, rumors, and accusations, and her signature move was refusing to respond to any of them publicly. Silence, in the face of an accusation, is one of the most disorienting moves a person can make because accusers expect a reaction. They've built their entire attack around getting one. When you don't defend yourself, don't explain, don't argue, you remove the fuel their accusation needed to spread. Watch how public figures who get caught scandal-mongering behave. The ones who immediately issue 5 statements defending themselves usually dig the story deeper, because every statement is new material for headlines. The ones who say nothing at all often watch the story die within days, because a story needs conflict to survive, and conflict needs 2 active participants. This is deeply counterintuitive because every instinct in your body screams to correct the record, to defend your name, to explain the misunderstanding. But defense implies doubt. Silence implies the accusation was never worth acknowledging in the first place. This doesn't mean staying silent about actual wrongdoing. It means recognizing that petty attacks, gossip, and bait questions designed to provoke you lose all their power the second you refuse to play. Elizabeth I understood this in the 1500s. It still works exactly the same way today, in office politics, in group chats, in family arguments. The person who doesn't need to defend themselves is the person everyone assumes has nothing to hide. I make even more interesting videos like this one. Subscribe to see them.